most men never master their mind. A samurai could not afford that weakness, for in the instant his discipline failed, his life was already over. If I stripped you of every comfort you have, would your spirit still stand? This is how the samurai trained that strength, and how you can forge it for yourself. The path is narrow, its stones are sharp. It winds upward through mist and silence, where no companion walks beside you, and no voice calls you back if you falter. It is the way of self-discipline, the only road the samurai ever trusted, and the one the weak will never climb. A man is not forged by comfort. Steel is not born from water that fears the fire. Your spirit is the same, untested metal, soft in the hands, until you feed it to the furnace of restraint. A samurai did not wait for discipline to arrive. He hunted it, like the hawk that watches the clearing from a winter branch, motionless, unblinking, unmoved by wind. You must learn to be still when the world tempts you to move. You must move when the world tempts you to remain still. This is the first cut of the path, to command yourself before you seek to command the outcome. Do you know your weakness? Not the one you parade in self-pity, but the one you hide even from your own reflection. Find it. It is the first enemy. Without facing it, you will always bow to it in secret. The samurai rose each day as if the sun itself were watching his first movement. Before food, before speech, before comfort, he sharpened the mind. This sharpening did not come from noise, but from silence, the ink-black quiet where the smallest thought reveals its true face. If you cannot master yourself in the stillness of dawn, how will you master yourself in the chaos of battle? Discipline is not punishment. It is preparation. When a swordsman oils his blade, he is not punishing steel. He is preserving its life. When you deny yourself indulgence, you are not killing joy. You are protecting the root from which all true joy grows. To live without discipline is to live like an unsharpened sword, heavy, dull, and useless when the moment calls for the cut. And the moment will come. It will not announce itself. It will not give you time to ready your mind. It will appear like the shadow of an archer in the trees, unseen until the arrow is already in flight. If you have trained, you will act. If you have not, you will freeze. Pause here. What is the one habit, indulgence, or comfort that has grown into your master? Name it now, not in shame, but in clarity, for what you do not name, you cannot cut away. The samurai knew the taste of denial. Days on the road without shelter, meals of cold rice, armor worn until it bruised the skin. Every hardship was an ally, every discomfort a lesson. To him, the world's softness was an ambush, a velvet noose that steals a warrior's edge long before the enemy's blade ever touches him. Your training ground is everywhere. The way you rise from sleep, the way you tie your clothing, the way you eat, walk, and work. All are strokes of the same brush. The undisciplined mind treats these as small things. The disciplined mind knows there are no small things, only opportunities to practice command. You must learn to hold the bow until your arms tremble, to sit in meditation until your legs burn, to keep your word when the path becomes steep. This is not cruelty to yourself. This is the whetstone against which your spirit is sharpened. Many seek motivation. The samurai sought clarity. Motivation rises and falls like the cherry blossom in the wind, beautiful, but gone in a moment. Clarity is the mountain behind it, unmoving, unshaken by the seasons. If you train only when you feel like it, you are a servant to mood. If you train regardless of feeling, you are the master of it. The farmer plants without guarantee of rain. The archer draws without guarantee of the target's fall. You must train without guarantee of recognition. To do otherwise is to become a beggar for praise, and a warrior who begs is already defeated. Remember this: every battle is won before it is fought. The swordsman who survives is the one who trained his spirit when there was no enemy before him. He knew that discipline was not for the field. It was for the unseen moments, the private tests, the countless refusals to betray the path for the sake of comfort. The pine tree does not complain in winter. It bends under snow but does not break. You must be the same. Do not waste breath in resentment. Do not curse the trial. Stand in the storm until it passes, and when it does, remain standing. A samurai's armor was heavy, lacquered plates, corded bindings, metal and leather that bit into the flesh. Yet he wore it until it felt like his own skin. Your discipline must become the same. At first, it will weigh on you. Later, it will hold you together. The undisciplined man blames the wind for his unsteady aim. The disciplined man adjusts his stance, narrows his breath, and releases the arrow anyway. This is the difference between those who dream and those who do. Every day you hesitate, you dull your own blade. Every time you yield to comfort, you weaken the spine that must one day hold you upright when all else collapses. Do not think the enemy will wait for you to become ready. He will come in the night. He will come when you are tired, cold, or full of doubt. You will not have time to prepare then. You have only now. What then is discipline? It is the unseen strike, the choice to train when no one calls your name, the silent refusal to step off the path when the world offers you softer ground. It is the cold morning you rise into willingly, the empty stomach you carry without complaint, the repetition you embrace until mastery arrives without ceremony. In the gardens of Kyoto, there is a practice. A gardener will prune the pine not to beautify it, but to strengthen its form. Every branch cut away is a removal of weakness, an act of service to the tree's long life. You must do the same with yourself. Cut away what is unnecessary, not once, but endlessly. The samurai did not prune himself once in youth. He cut daily, with the same precision he used on the battlefield. This path is not for those who seek applause. It is not for those who wish to be carried. It is for those willing to bleed quietly in their own training ground, knowing that the strength they gain there will one day save their life. And now I turn to you, you who listen to these words as if they are meant for another. They are not. The path is before you, and it does not wait. Will you step onto it, or will you remain where you are, soft in the shadow of your own potential? The world will test you in the smallest ways before it dares to challenge you in the greatest. It will whisper first, then roar. It will come to you as hunger, as fatigue, as boredom, as the subtle voice that says, "You've done enough." That voice is the thief of warriors. It steals not with force, but with invitation. The samurai did not wait for strength to arrive by chance. He forged it through relentless shaping, the kind of shaping that demands you choose the harder way, even when no one sees. When the road split, he chose the steeper climb. When the day offered leisure, he reached for labor. When his body craved indulgence, he turned to the grindstone. Not because he hated ease, but because he knew that ease, left unchecked, would make him soft in the hour he could least afford it. Your discipline will never grow in the sunlight of constant comfort. It grows in the shadow, where you face what you would rather avoid. It is the act of meeting cold water in winter without hesitation, of practicing the strike until your muscles ache, of holding silence when your pride begs to speak. When you train yourself to endure the small resistances, you prepare to stand against the great storms. The man who cannot endure the ache of stillness will not survive the chaos of battle. The one who flees from discomfort today will be the first to break when the enemy advances tomorrow. There is a lesson written in the cherry blossom. Its beauty is short-lived. A single gust can strip its petals, but it does not resist the wind. It falls without regret, knowing its purpose is fulfilled. The disciplined life carries the same acceptance. You train not because you seek eternity, but because you know your time is limited, and you will not waste it in softness. Pause now. What is the one act of discipline you keep postponing? Telling yourself you will start tomorrow, or next week, or when the time is right. What if the time never comes? Would you leave this life having never taken that step? A samurai understood that hesitation is a silent death. It does not strike with a blade. It seeps into you like water into paper, weakening your resolve until it tears. That is why he acted without delay. If the arrow was ready, it was loosed. If the enemy was near, the sword was drawn. If the opportunity to train arose, he seized it without excuse. You may believe you lack discipline because you lack willpower, but willpower is not what sustains the samurai. Ritual sustains him. Structure is his unseen ally. Each dawn begins the same. Each action follows a pattern, not because life is dull, but because mastery is found in the repetition of the essential. When the spear is thrust, it does not ask the hand if it feels ready. The hand moves because it has done so 1,000 times before. When the arrow is drawn, it does not ask the archer if the wind is fair. The string is pulled because the motion has become part of the body itself. This is where discipline leads, to action without debate. Your mind will fight this. It will try to bargain, to delay, to dress in the robes of reason. It will tell you the ground is too uneven to train today, that the weather is too cruel, that your body is too tired. The samurai heard these whispers and cut them down before they finished speaking. He knew the enemy does not wait for fair conditions, and so neither would he. In the mountain forests of Japan, the Yamabushi, warrior monks, would walk barefoot through snow, climb ridges in silence, and sleep on the bare earth. This was not to prove themselves to others, but to remind themselves daily that they needed little to endure much. Your own practice may not require snow or stone, but it must require you to face what you would rather avoid. Understand this: discipline is not forged in the moments you feel strong. It is forged in the moments you are certain you cannot continue, and continue anyway. When your breath is shallow, your body heavy, your mind begging for the end, that is the moment you stand, not sit. That is the moment you strike, not retreat. The katana was not sharpened once and then forgotten. It was sharpened before every battle, inspected for flaws, cared for as though it were alive. So too must you sharpen yourself, daily, without fail, even when you believe you are already ready, especially then. Some will say this is too much, that life is to be enjoyed, not endured. But the samurai knew joy was not in the absence of hardship. It was in standing unbroken after hardship had passed. The taste of warm tea is sweeter in the cold. The stillness of a quiet room is deeper after the clash of steel. The victory is sharper when you have bled to earn it. There is no greater enemy to discipline than the belief that you can begin tomorrow. Tomorrow is a blade that cuts unseen. It steals today's chance to grow, leaving you weaker when tomorrow becomes today. The samurai began now, even if now was late, even if now was imperfect, even if now was all he had left. And so I ask you, not later, not after this ends, but now. What will you do in the next hour to sharpen yourself? Will you take the harder path, or will you leave the blade dull, waiting for an enemy who will not wait for you? The one who clings too tightly is already trapped. A samurai understood that to walk the path of discipline, he must walk it with empty hands. Attachment, to comfort, to outcome, to the praise of others, is the weight that slows the strike and blurs the eye. He carried what was necessary, nothing more. When you are bound to the fruits of your labor, you become a servant to their taste. If they are sweet, you relax. If they are bitter, you despair. The disciplined warrior is moved by neither. His aim is the act itself, pure, sharp, complete. Victory or defeat are seasons. The tree does not curse the winter, nor does it cling to the spring. If you wish to train self-discipline like a samurai, you must loosen your grip on what cannot be controlled. This does not mean you drift without purpose. It means you fix your gaze on the task, not on the applause that may or may not follow. To work without expectation is to cut without hesitation. In the heat of battle, The swordsman does not wonder if the enemy will praise his form. He does not ask the wind to still or the sun to move behind the clouds. He acts, fully, without reservation, without the shadow of wanting. This is freedom, not the absence of duty, but the absence of chains upon the mind. When you become detached, your discipline sharpens. No longer distracted by reward, you focus only on the cut itself. No longer swayed by failure, you rise and step forward without pause. A mind unbound is a mind unbroken. There is clarity in detachment. It is the clear stream flowing under winter ice, still visible, still pure, untouched by the storms above. The world will try to cloud your water with fear, with desire, with envy, with rage. Let it pass over you as wind passes over the mountain, felt, but unable to move the rock beneath. Pause here. What do you cling to so tightly that, if it were taken from you, you would fall apart? Do not fear the answer. Know it, so that you may cut it loose before it becomes the hand that holds your blade back. Death was the final detachment. The samurai did not run from it. He studied it as one studies the moon, seeing it from every angle until it became a familiar companion. To accept death was to remove its power to paralyze. A warrior who has accepted death cannot be intimidated, bribed, or broken, for there is nothing left to take from him. And so the samurai trained each day as though it were his last, not in reckless abandon, but in complete presence. Every stroke of the sword was final. Every bow to his opponent was sincere. Every breath was his last chance to breathe. If you would learn this kind of discipline, you must learn to live the same way. Not tomorrow. Now speak the words that must be spoken. Do the work that must be done. Train as though the next step you take may be your final step. Death acceptance is not morbid. It is liberating. It frees you from hesitation. It removes the false comfort of someday. It focuses your will like the archer's eye upon a single point. Life is sharper when you know it can be cut short at any moment. In the writings of old warriors, there is a constant truth. The way you face small endings prepares you for the great ending. The way you close a training session, the way you finish a task, the way you end each day. These are the rehearsals for the moment when all practice ends. When you greet death without fear, every moment before it becomes an opportunity, not a burden. The tea tastes richer. The air feels colder and cleaner. The sound of rain is heavier, deeper. And in each of these moments, discipline becomes not a burden, but a privilege. The samurai did not seek long life. He sought a worthy life. If it ended tomorrow, he wished to leave behind no regrets, no unkept promises to himself. That is why he trained every day without exception. That is why he chose the harder path when an easier one lay before him. That is why he carried no more than he needed, and why he let go when the time came. Your own path may not demand steel or blood, but it demands the same clarity. Discipline without detachment becomes obsession. Detachment without discipline becomes apathy. You must hold both, the unshakable will to act, and the freedom to let go of what you cannot hold. When you can rise each morning ready to give your best without the promise of reward, when you can endure hardship without bitterness, when you can train in silence without witnesses, when you can step forward into danger without the false hope that it will pass you by, then you will have taken the shape of a true warrior. And so I ask you, are you willing to release the chains you've wrapped around your own hands so you can carry your blade freely? Or will you die still clutching what was never yours to keep? Mastery is not a destination. It is a road without end, one the samurai walked knowing he would die before reaching its horizon. To the undisciplined, this is discouraging. To the disciplined, it is liberation. There is no finish line to wait for, no moment when the work is done. Only the next step, only the next cut, only the next breath taken with precision and intent. The untrained seek perfection in the eyes of others. The samurai sought perfection in the silence of his own heart. Each day was a test, not against his peers, but against the man he had been yesterday. If today's strike was faster, truer, cleaner, it was victory. If not, it was a lesson. You cannot rush mastery. Like bamboo, it grows unseen beneath the earth for years before it pierces the soil. The undisciplined will dig it up to see if it is growing, killing it in their impatience. The disciplined will water it in silence, trusting the work, knowing that when it finally emerges, it will rise with unstoppable strength. The samurai did not waste his life chasing 100 skills. He chose a few, the sword, the bow, the horse, the pen, and made them his life's companions. This is the way. To pursue everything is to master nothing. To master one thing is to understand all things. Your own mastery may be the craft you build with your hands, the strength you forge in your body, the clarity you shape in your mind. Whatever it is, choose it fully. Do not dance at its edges. Step into it until it swallows you whole. Let it temper you, break you, and rebuild you. This is the path most avoid, for it requires the one thing they fear most: patience. Patience is the steel beneath discipline. It allows you to keep striking even when the stone resists. It keeps you training when improvement hides itself from you. It keeps you walking when the path is dark and endless. Without patience, discipline burns hot but dies quickly. With it, discipline burns slow and eternal. A master is not the one who can defeat all opponents. A master is the one who can defeat himself, his doubts, his temptations, his vanity, his fear. The sword can be taken from your hand, but no enemy can take the mastery you have carved into your very being. It is yours until your final breath. There is an old teaching. When you are a beginner, see the mountain as a mountain. When you have trained for years, the mountain is no longer a mountain. When you master the way, the mountain is a mountain again. This is the circle of discipline, from simplicity to complexity, and back to simplicity again. At the highest level, you return to the basics, but now you understand their depth. The same strike you practiced as a boy becomes the cut that ends the duel. Do not fear repetition. Do not crave novelty as the undisciplined do. The master drinks from the same cup each day, and in doing so, tastes more than the one who drinks from 100. When you can return to the same practice, the same form, the same breath, and find new depth each time, you are walking the way. You will be tempted to measure your mastery in victories. Do not. The true measure is in how you carry yourself in defeat, in solitude, in the days when the world forgets you. The samurai knew that a lifetime of work could be lost in a single careless moment. That is why he guarded his discipline until the last step of his journey. And so the circle closes. From the first moment you stepped onto this path, you have been in battle, not with an enemy of flesh and bone, but with the shifting shadows within you. Every moment of hesitation was their strike. Every moment of discipline was your counter. The question has always been, which will be the last to fall? Now hear the final challenge. When you wake tomorrow, the path will be waiting. It will not shine. It will not call your name. It will lie there, silent, as it always has. Will you step onto it without question, or will you wait for a reason to do so? Know this: the warrior who waits for a reason is already defeated. So I leave you with this. If your discipline were the only thing you left behind in this world, would it be strong enough to outlive you, or would it vanish with your final breath? The choice is yours. Walk the way, or step aside for the ones who will.